I'm Joshua Bardwell, and I got another camera to show you today. Yeah, you're going to learn something today about a camera. Well, here's the deal. I did a camera shootout a little while back showing the Predator, the Sparrow, the Eagle, Runcam Swift Micro. I had them all on screen. It was a really good video, if I do say so myself. But there was one camera that was missing, and not just because it's hard to get more than 4 cameras on screen at once, but because I didn't have it at the time that I did the shootout. And that was the Foxeer Monster Pro. Now, I did not like the Foxeer Monster, and I didn't like the Foxeer Monster V2 because they had really muddy blacks. I just didn't think they had a good image. But I got to tell you, the Foxeer Monster Pro looks really freaking good, and it looks especially good next to the Predator V2, which I've got here just comparing. And I've got, if you look here, you can see I've got both the mini and the micro, the full size and micro versions of each camera. I could have put the 2 minis on the bottom, couldn't I? That would have made your life easier. Oh well, I labeled them. You'll do fine. The Monster Pro looks particularly good compared to the Predator, which, although this is supposed to be the Predator V2, still kind of has the blue cast issue. I have it on good authority that Foxeer is continuing to work to improve the Predator and to get rid of the blue cast issue, but at least at the time that I made this video, the Predator V2 still had problems. So I want to get you this video out to you and let you have a look at the Foxeer Monster Pro, which in my opinion not only totally redeems the Monster. I think this image looks really freaking good. It doesn't quite have the same dynamic range of the Predator, or, although it's not in this shootout, the Eagle. But overall, man, if you're looking for an image, if you like the old CCD style of image, but you want, they're getting harder and harder to find, aren't they? You want maybe a little bit more of the technology of CMOS with the high resolution. And anyway, I think the Monster Pro looks really freaking good, and that's why I'm showing you this. I think you should give it a look. This is my quickly becoming a standard run through various, looking at the trees to get dynamic range and shadow detail. Now we're going to go look up under my porch. We'll look at these bushes. We'll see a little bit of detail. The DVR that's being used to record this only records every other horizontal line. That's actually true of most DVRs, most FPV DVRs. So we're not perfectly seeing the resolution, but it's pretty good resolution, I guess. Yeah. You can see here the blue cast in the Predator is just so bad, but the colors are so natural on the Monster, and it's got okay shadow detail looking up under the porch here. The exposure is adjusted a little better. Yeah, pretty good shadow detail. Really good looking image. About the only thing there is maybe to dislike about the Monster Pro is it is a 16:9. It's a widescreen camera. So if your goggles have a 4:3 screen, you're going to get some squish or some, it's not going to look the best. And frankly, that alone for me would make it a deal breaker. I just don't have any goggles that have for a widescreen screen. Here we're seeing how the sun flare affects. Take a look here to see how the flare of the sun is different on the micro versus the mini, the larger lens versus smaller lens. It's pretty good, honestly. Really good looking. Here we're looking at how much barrel distortion there is, how straight these pickets are versus, versus how bent they get as they move on by. You can really see the dynamic range of the Predator here with much more detail, whereas the Monster Pro, because the sun is kind of backlighting them, these pickets are kind of just turning dark. But you're also getting a lot more flare and blue cast on the Predator. So the Monster is doing just really, really good. I'd really like to see a comparison of the Monster Pro and something like the Sparrow, which also has a really natural image, even though it's a CMOS camera. Maybe a little bit more noise, I think, on the Sparrow than on the Monster. But again, because the Monster is a 16:9 camera and not a 4:3 camera, they kind of don't compete against each other. People with widescreen goggles are probably going to buy this one. Here we're looking back at the shadow detail and the dynamic range in this behind the barn scene. Look at how much the highlights get blown out and get turned white versus how much you can see in the ground, how much detail you're getting here. Pretty good image from the Monster. If I said that enough times, I guess I have. And finally, we're going to move this stuff past the screen, towards the screen, and see for the lens that's on them how bulgy they get versus how straight they stay, just to get a sense of how fisheye the lens is. Anyway, that's going to do it I really wanted to show you guys the Monster Pro Micro, especially because I was so hard on the Monster, the V1 and V2 Monster. I did not like them at all. If you didn't like the earlier Monsters, the Monster Pro is absolutely worth a look. And if you like Foxeer, but you kind of wish there was something better than the Predator or the Arrow, the Monster Pro is worth a look if you have 16:9 goggles. Link in the video description. That's going to do it for this one. Happy flying.